Hello, Niver. This is Novels and Bits podcast, and I am your host, Chizaba Katie. How are we doing? So we've been doing the story Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and as my sister likes to call it, Lucas and Scarlett's story. Now, this is the second part where we ended things in the last episode. We had it that, okay, each time that Lucas and Scarlett would make a meeting, he would cancel at the last minute, but eventually they were able to see at the library, they exchanged lists, and, there was this unexpected motion. And he seemed like, oh wow, okay, I found my person. This thing between us is going to work, right? So that's where we stopped in the last episode. Now continue with this. I said that I did not realize I would have so much fun telling this story because, this story is steamy. Yes, some of the books I read are adult books. They're quite secular, mostly about the story. But then this particular one had a lot of this type of scenes. And yet there was still a lot of complaints about how it was not so much kinky. I don't know what people were expecting. The story itself was what got me. And you need to see how long the story is, even without any of me mentioning any of those other stuff, right? Because there's so much to the story. And of course, being a believer myself, I'm just gonna, prune, take out the good and leave you with the other stuff. Definitely this works for different people and at different points wherever you encounter a story. And now that I've riffed off on those things and you've heard me so kindly, let's continue. Now, on a certain Saturday afternoon, Scarlett has nothing better to do. So she now decides, okay, I'm just going to go to the lab to geek out on what they've been doing, the whole computational biology stuff that she has that lab work with Lucas and the professor and one other TA. Surprisingly, she runs into Lucas there. For the first time since they've both been running across each other, they're not wearing athletic wears. They're just kind of like in casual clothes because it's Saturday. They don't have practice or classes. And they talk a bit about what they're here for. He's oddly finishing her sentences, and it can't be said who for sure initiates what. But next thing, she's sliding in between his legs and they're in an intimate embrace. What follows after is instruction for her to get down on him. It gives her something to follow instead of overthinking the situation. When that's done, I think that was more stuff. They're leaving the lab to somewhere he's leading her. He's touchy, his thumb running across her lips, holding her hand. She has to pull away because he's a public figure and people are staring, but he ain't noticed it. Now, Lucas seems not to know what an inward dive is, because they had a certain conversation that led to it. And Scarlett now accuses him of being inattentive to his ex because his ex is a diver like Scarlett is. Scarlett now says that was why she broke up with you. He now explains that part of him and Penn is the captain of the diving team, that's Scarlett's friend too, that part of him getting together with Penn at the time is because they didn't know each other's sports that well. And he does know about the whole diving stuff, but he tends to mix up moves. They wind up talking about her only ex, that is Scarlett's only ever ex, Josh. In their relationship, Scarlett was like the way Lucas is with Penn. She came across cold and distant. Josh is currently in another university. He met someone he liked better there and broke up with her. Lucas seems angry about it. It now leads Scarlett to asking him the other question, that for you, Lucas, has it just been Penn, like the only woman you've been with? I mean, you've been dating her since you were 15, so it makes sense if she's the only person you've ever been with. But Lucas now mentions it's complicated. Okay. He's like, he's going to talk better about it when they get inside the house. Now, this house is beautiful. But he also shares this house with two other of his teammates, two other swimmers, Hassan and Kyle. This house is so clean because Lucas is a tyrant who insists on strict regimes. At the time that Hassan busts into the kitchen where Scarlett is there with Lucas, and Lucas is peeling an apple for her, and Hassan is like, oh yeah, I thought you were Penn. It's now up to Scarlett to answer, I'm here because we're working on a project together. After Lucas serves her snacks, they're off to his room where he doesn't waste time getting down to what's definitely not projects. And he now reminds her this is a strong word, he reminds her affectionately, baby, keep it down. Kyle's room is down the hall. They don't quite have penetrative intercourse, but whatever they do, satisfies them both. He holds her right after promising to clean her up, and then she falls asleep. So when she wakes up sometime in the morning ish, his hands around her are still tight, and she notices that yes, he actually did clean her up when she slept off. She wiggles out of his hold and she dresses up. The house is quiet as the athletes are asleep. Athletes go to bed on time and they sleep like healthy hours because it affects their performance. So being an athlete actually gives you a measure of discipline, these people. Now, she texts him when she gets home, but she doesn't get any reply from Lukas for days. Just the marks on her body are the evidence that anything even happened between them. She sees him around. They go out of their way to avoid each other. It really stinks. But boundaries, right? Now, Pen gets sick and Scarlett now visits Pen with soup and the watchroom comes. Now, Scarlett surprisingly gets a 7 in her German assignments. The German she's been, floundering at. And also, Scarlett and Pen, when Pen gets better, both of them are practicing the whole skin crew diving moves, but they are so bad that Victoria, the girl who was Pen's former synchro mate, but she had this ankle accident, she returns with a cast on her leg to coach them. Now, there is also friendly competition between two colleges that's coming up sooner than later. It consists of dual meets. Athletes are training hard and it's telling on their bodies. So they are soaking in Epsom salt tubs, cold bath, which is hell, all the things just to relieve the ache in the muscles. On one of these days, Scarlett is soaking while she has earphones on. She's tuned into her psych class, so she doesn't hear when people join her in this pool. It's like a pool that will contain about 10 people. She's soaking. I think it's a hot bath or something. A group of about 5 male swimmers are there, including Kyle. Remember, we just met Kyle at the house. He's Lucas's housemate, one of Lucas's housemates. So when she sees them, they're friendly, they're not biting, but she's getting nervous. She's getting so nervous and she's trying to just keep it down so they don't think she's weird or overreacting. Of all persons, the persons that lifts her out of there as though she weighs nothing is Lukas. When he gets her out of there, they get to have a private moment. So when he's done helping her, she's like, okay, thanks. She's not going away. And he now holds her hand like, yo, why are you going? She's like, I thought we're not talking anymore. So he's not like, oh, no. She not asked, so why have you not contacted me in about 2 weeks right now? And he admits that he has no good reason why he hasn't. And this is her first time getting ghosted, okay? So she wants to just put off the whole thing. But then someone she recognizes from his family picture. They work in the same lab now. So he has his family picture displayed on the bench there, and someone from the picture, one of his brothers, she recognizes the person walking towards them. This is his elder brother by 11 years, Jan. So Lukas is really the baby of the house. So we don't get where all of this commando-ness it's coming from. Now, Jan invites Scarlett to go hiking with them. That's himself and Lukas the next day. She doesn't want to inconvenience, but Jan is like, I promise you, I assure you, Lukas doesn't mind. It's a Wednesday, and normally her schedule should be catching up on schoolwork, but she's enjoying just, doing something outside the schedule for a change. She's enjoying being outdoors. She used to do it often, but stopped along the way. Now, they take a selfie on the trail. The men, they said they'll send it to their dad. That is, Lukas and Jan will send that picture to their dad. They now joke about how their dad does his best to just shower equal affection on all his 4 sons, regardless of if one person accomplished little or big, he just showers the same praise. So they suspect that he read too many parenting books. So he does his best not to overpraise one child and does his best to just keep it equal. Now, of his 4 sons, only one of his sons lives in Sweden. The rest are abroad. Lukas is here in America. The other 2 are somewhere. Jan treats both Lukas and Scarlett to lunch afterwards. So during lunch and they're conversing, it comes out that Lukas is the type of person who denies himself what he wants to prove he can do without it. He doesn't like sweets, he says. But Jan thinks it's because he likes them too much. That's why he doesn't want them. At 11 years old, Lukas had a great new bed, but slept on the wooden ground for 3 months. At another age, he took only cold baths for an entire year. At another age, he went 2 years with no seasoning in his food. He's all about self-determination, conquer your flesh, and it appears he still does it. That's what Scarlett is putting together in her head. When he drives Scarlett home, she confirms it from him because he now admits that the reason he ghosted her is that he felt so out of control with her that he panicked. He now wanted to give space for 15 days to tell himself that he can do without this girl, without his attraction to this girl or whatever it is. Sarcastically, Scarlett goes, well, you still have a few days to go, but did it ever occur to you that when you came around, I would no longer be interested? So she squeezes his hand for the last time and walks out. That whole, I have to treat myself with dignity. I love this. Please, you don't let anyone treat you like this. Now, 2 days pass. He tries to call only twice to still tell you the kind of person he is. I mean, all the effort he makes to get in touch is only 2 missed calls. And he only texts once. He's not serious. She just ignores it. She's aching, as far that temptation of, I like this person. But I beg, let me stay alone rather than be disrespected. Now, the day of the meet arrives. She's doing so well until she's supposed to do an inward pike. And she does something else instead. Even after the whole visualizing how I would feel after this, that she was visualizing before she took the stage and performed this thing. She comes in third and she's feeling like crap. After that is a celebratory party at a swimmer's place. In that celebratory party, now, the people that came from the other university are there too. And one of the guys is trying to get with Scarlett, but she doesn't find him attractive in the least. With nothing better to do, she's trying to get herself drunk low-key, so her mind doesn't run away with her. She's a heavy overthinker. However, Lukas comes and sits in front of them, and the other guy is like, oh my god, Lukas Blomqvist. Obviously, he's like idolizing Lukas right now because he's a swimmer, and Lukas is a big deal in the swimming world. And that thing is, Lukas did so well at the meet that his performance alone is half of every other person's performance. And the reason why Stanford won. It's just like Kim So-hyun when he played in Queen of Tears. I heard that his salary alone for that drama is like 1/3 the budget of the drama. So Lucas' performance is like half of what made the Stanford team's win. Just Lucas' performance alone. He's that freaking impressive. And we have seen that he obviously came from hard work, extreme hard work. You understand? Even if he has his sexual preferences, whatever they may be. So Lukas lies to the guy that Scarlett is his sister through their mom. So he now prompts the guy to blot out how his mom revenge cheated after his dad cheated on her with her cousin. Lukas sends the guy on an errand as far. This person, no one just here. So Lukas is kind of done with Scarlett. This is the middle of a party and it's late. So right now, he apologizes for how he treated her. It was not cool. He owed her respect, care, and truth. And then the next thing he said, he actually gulps. Like his Adam's apple does, like, He now says, I hope you demand that from whoever you be with in the future. You don't owe me forgiveness. Anyway, based on his very sincere apology, and she has already been quite like, okay, well, it's not like I hate you. Her body is so low, she forgives him right away. Then she now asks him, so what could we be doing? Just like that, he takes her hand and they leave. Mind you, this is all these people know, okay? All they know is, yeah, we like each other. We're compatible in the sexual area. Let's get it on. Okay, even among our well-meaning believers in uni sometimes, it's all they know. Especially when you're that young. They understand and your hormones are raging and that's the exposure you have. So I'm not really quick to judge these books because I would rather read a secular book that I know that, okay, these are their values than read a Christian book that is weird. And I'm like, I'm really supposed to be a Christian book? You get, definitely, God changes my mind every day, so I can't say for sure if I'll still have this opinion long term. So now, when they get to the house, there's no one at home, and quickly, things get hot and heavy. After he asks if she'll stay over, she now replies, I would like to. Summary of how this part and the next after it feels butterflies, an entire zoo let loose in my belly. It's how he's so controlled, but gentle and tender with her. The mix is enough to drive anyone crazy. Okay, he does things like hold her so tight when he is sleeping, but he's like iron grip, like you're not going to leave me. He's also reluctant to let her use the bathroom because he doesn't want to lose her warmth. He even gets her medicine and water, makes sure she's showered, even if he has to do it himself, feeds her and takes her home after. This guy has to exist, of course, except the part of taking me home because we will be home already. Eyebrows stitching. Now they go on a drive where he gets them food, and then they sit on the bonnet of the car in a deserted place to eat. She doesn't tend to eat that much, so he even winds up like making sure she's stuffed with food, and he eats a lot actually. Now they make plans to go hiking. It feels like companionship until Lucas gets a call from Penn, the ex There's also Scarlett's friend. Now, Penn is stranded somewhere after her car stopped. It's an awakening call for Scarlett. Now, Lucas is not happy about it, like happy that his time with Scarlett is cut short. But when she's like, oh, no, 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 it's fine. Just go get Pen, it's okay. He drops her off at her apartment building. Now, the following Wednesday, Scarlett's appointment with her therapist gets cancelled because the therapist is sick. Now, Scarlett now also happens to overhear her coaches talking about how Scarlett can't make national team because of her block. That thing where she can't perform the inward dive. They're thinking of someone else taking her spot. And they're now saying, that talent, such a waste though. Talent is hurt. And she's so angry. She runs into Pen. Pen, who she's thinking to herself, is still in a great relationship with her ex, Lucas, So Scarlett just overcompensates by being all false brightness despite her heart is sinking. One night before bed, she's doom scrolling when the algorithm now feeds her videos of younger Lucas competing. His mom used to be in the stands with his dad and older brothers, but after he was 14, his mom stopped being in the stands. And Lucas was adorable. It reminds her of what he referred to the hangout as mysig. Is a Swedish word, mysig. And I don't know why I forgot to mention this, but when it comes to their sports, diving and swimming, please, she's in a one-piece suit most of the time. Like one-piece swimming suit as per butt is showing. Do you understand? But obviously these people see this as a sport and nobody's really looking at them like, oh, you're being a pervert or something. They're there for business. The guys too are mostly bare-chested and everybody's just swimming. So they're wearing swimming attires. Okay? Also, Lucas has a tattoo on one arm like that. It covers the entire arm. And it's like the tattoo is a scenery from his hometown. And we're going to find out more about that tattoo as we go on in the story. You get, so it's like a scenery. So it has all these peaks and trees and snowy cliffs. It's beautiful. When we see the portrayal, as people have made efforts to just use AI and stuff to replicate how it was described in the book. So I really needed to mention that. Most of the time you see the promotion of this book, people are just wearing swimsuits. So it's because it's the sports. It's not like me trying to be indecent or anything. Now, this mysig thing is a Swedish word that Lucas mentioned when we were hanging together. And when she looks it up, it means the quality of sharing a comfortable moment with the person whose company one enjoys. And then she's like, oh my God, he said he's having a mysig with me. I think I'll find the correct pronunciation of that in next episode. It makes her go to bed feeling warm. And another thing is Stanford. Stanford University is not an Ivy League university. It's a private university. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Deep End is a story for the girlies with insecurities and hang-ups. The whole Scarlett always concealing, always trying to overcompensate for what I don't know. Those things. Finally, the alumna meet. Scarlett has always not liked competing against older athletes who used to be students of Stanford. You get? Now, this alumna meet is the school's way of trying to get the alumna to donate to the school. Like I said, it's a private school. Even worse, her high school coach Kumar and his wife Clara came this year for Scarlett. Now, Coach Kumar's wife Clara is an alumna of Stanford. And they believe in her so much. And that just makes her feel sick. Because she's just going to disappoint them at this meet, right? So she now asks permission from her coach that she doesn't feel so well. So she takes off. She's alone in her bedroom where her roommate, or rather her flatmate, Miriam, informs her that an underwear model is looking for her. Obviously, it's not surprising that Lucas is an underwear model. I mean, he has endorsed so many things. The fact that they didn't even discuss how rich this Lucas is, he's trying to tell you that the rich should not even be quantified because money is not his problem. Now, Lucas shouldn't be here, but somehow he is. And he wants to know why she took off. But she's like, I'm invisible. Nobody notices me. How did you even notice I left? The way he chuckles and now tells her, you have no clue. Now, she's quite unkind though, even though he did a very sweet thing coming to check on her. And she's now telling him the nastiest things because she's hurting. Lucas now calmly says, say the word and I'll leave. She now tells him, leave! He now gives her a kiss on the forehead, saying, you have my number, use it. He's leaving when she calls him back, and when she tells him that she hasn't been able to perform an inward dive since the accident, he says something no one else has ever said. He tells her, I'm sorry. Other people are like, oh yeah, well, you get over it. Oh yeah, well, it happens. That kind of thing. But he says, I'm sorry. There's no false encouragement there. For the first time ever, Scarlett bawls her eyes out. She wishes he would leave and not say her like this, because a relationship is purely physical. It doesn't involve you being my emotional support, da da da. But instead, he cradles her close and gets the details of the accident out of her. Now, apparently, the night before the NCAA finals, her dad, who's not supposed to contact her due to court order, reached out to say he's proud of her. At that time, Bab had a patient emergencies and was so busy at the hospital. So Scarlett couldn't reach her to get her guidance, like, oh my God, my daddy called. I don't feel great about it. What should I do? Also, Josh, that is Scarlett's ex now, who has been screwing around at his university with somebody else, finally decided that this is a good night to confess to Scarlett. So everything messed with her head, and she who's never gotten a dive wrong. Most divers experience blocks, but never had not once. She failed and had an accident. So for this reason, Lukas now shares his own story with her. He now tells her that his mom passed when he was 14, whereas she was expected to be around a little longer, meaning she already had a terminal illness. So at that time, Lukas was off swimming and wasn't there with his mom in her last moments. So he was determined to make the swimming count for her sake. He threw himself into the swimming and started getting slower instead of faster. Nobody in his family understood what he was going through. They kept pushing him forward, telling him not to give up. Only one American girl got it, Pen. So he's now saying she'd call me and text me and was so easy to talk to. Before I knew it, she was giving me the tools to communicate to my trainer and my family that I needed to stop swimming for a while, that I might never go back. I didn't have the words, but she helped me find them. And I did step back. The Olympics happened, and I didn't watch them. I traveled, spent time with friends, visited Penn, and decided that after what she'd done for me, I never wanted to not have her as my girlfriend. Above all, I let myself mourn my mom and acknowledge how messed up it was that for some twist of fate, I hadn't been able to say goodbye. And when I felt ready, I went back to the pool, but only after I'd proven to myself that I didn't need to swim to be cool. Now, see those bold lines, visited Penn, and decided that after what she'd done for me, I never wanted to not have her as my girlfriend. See those lines? I could never. If I were in Scarlett's position, haven't heard Penn even use words like, then me and Lukas were meant to be fated even. Because, to be honest Penn thinks that this breakup she's having with Lukas is temporary. She feels like they'll get back together at some point. That, I think we're fated. Do you get? That's how Penn is feeling, no. I have not mentioned that. That's literally what Penn is thinking. And me, Scarlett, in that position, I will hear those words. I will be there. They don't burn you in a way. You people will not see my back. You children of heartbreak and despair. You cannot find me there. God forbid. Anyhow, see what I wrote here finally when my head was not this hot. You both are great and good people, but I feel like an intruder and inept on top of my own insecurities. I'll just trust God to help me find people who are my people and be working on myself while that takes shape. So people should shift first. The whole reason why Lucas even told her all this story is to help her in her own situation. And then he now says something really nice. He now says, look, you don't have to leave the sport entirely and go and travel and be whole without it. But you have to find something that works for you. Now, Scarlett is scared because diving is her identity. Unlike Lukas, swimming is not his identity. If you took the swimming from him, he's fine. Scarlett's identity is tied into the diving thing, okay? So that's why she's all the more scared. She's so attached to it. Also, she got results of her MCAT that morning on email and hasn't opened it. MCAT is the exam that pre-med students write now to get into medical school. So she's feeling nerves. Now Lukas is now teaching her and now saying, hey, it starts with acknowledging you had a hard accident. And Lukas is angry at her dad and her ex. Why would they even do that to you on that kind of important day? Anyhow, he encourages her to let herself feel sad. So she cries until there's no more strength and she falls asleep in his arms. Now, a kink word that actually came out of this conversation that they had here is dracophilia. I had to look it up. It involves tears of love. And essentially, when the act of seeing tears turns a person on. Now, anytime that Scarlett and Lukas have their meet and greet moment, she often has tears come out of her eyes. So I think it's a thing too for both of them, this dracophilia. Scarlett, she slept off in Lucas's arms after crying, that it was unfair that happened to her, the accident, that her dad contacted her ex, so that those things at those unfortunate times. So she cried. She slept off. Lukas held her. Now she wakes up at 1:20 a.m. So she awakes him and tells him that she wants to go to Avery now and begs him to use his captain keys to let her in. Due to regulation, normally a coach and a few other people must be around during practice, to save people from drowning and any other water hazard. But Scarlett is now telling him, please, I can't attempt this thing in front of all those people. Their presence would only make me anxious. So Lucas says, okay, but no, I'm not going to leave you alone at that pole alone, Sha. Not even if you change your mind. She's like, it's fine. You can stay because you don't count. He now repeats, I don't count. He looks angry, stony face. She's like, no, because you don't care. He's like, I don't care. He sounds like the word displeased was invented for him and only him. And she doesn't understand why he's displeased until it occurs to her how he's interpreting her words. Oh my God, this is me and so many people at times. You just be saying something like, yeah, because it's not like you should be there now. Is it a must? And they're like, are you telling me not to come for you? He's like, no, I don't mean that way. No, you're fine now. I was thinking of transport. And you told me you had this other thing. That's what the situation is, oh. Because she now starts explaining, it's not like that. What I meant is you care about me being well more than about me being good at something, anything. And when you're around, I don't feel as anxious or scrutinized as I do with. So he gets it because he interrupts her with a smoosh, okay? Now both of them dress warmly and they leave. He's not even dressed as warmly as she's dressed. But here's the thing, Americans tend to feel more cold than sweets. Apparently, Sweden is very cold. So he's used to the cold, so it doesn't bug him as much as it bugs her. At Avery, Scarlett just goes through that routine of showering and warming up, not because she's stalling, she's excited. And the water is so cold, so she has to warm up her body. Now, Lucas climbs up with her to that springboard where she's going to bounce up from, and now ask about the stuff they always put on their legs. She now tells him, you mean the stripper pole wax? He now stops to give her a wider look. You put stripper pole wax on your shins. Like, that leg part now, so that it can stick to the board and stuff. She now tells him it's a grip aid. Now, divers use it to hold onto their legs. Strippers use it to hold onto their poles. So she now asks him, have you ever seen strippers do their thing? He now tells her, this feels like a trick question. As far, what kind of answer do you want from me right now? Just like when you ask your husband, so that your girlfriend that was she kissing better than me? Your husband will be like, where's that one coming from? What do you want to use that information from? Or do you like her better than me? That sort of thing. According to him, Penelope uses something else and she doesn't call it stripper pole wax. Scarlett finally does the dive, and when she comes up in the water, she's not asking him, which position did I face when I dove in? So before that time, he already looked up in what dive, and he knew that that's what she just did. So he joins her in the water where they make out, but not much because she's freezing. Next thing, he now wants her to check her MCAT. She stalls, oh. She's like, when I signed up to do this thing with you, I did not sign up for somebody to disturb my life now. He now tells her, you and I have an agreement, don't we? And the agreement says that until you say stop, I can do what I want with you. Even if it breaks you into pieces, even if it makes you cry. Do you understand? This is something he's in for our own good, though. You get, but he's telling her, even for your own good, I'll make you go through painful things. So go and check that MCAT. Don't stop overthinking. This is so me and my partner. He now tells her, I love that you opened up to me. He presses his mouth into the side of her head, like kisses her temple. She feels his inhale, and something sweet and thick drips inside her, warms her in her very core. He now says, the size of the same coin, I get to take you apart and split you open. But if anything else, anyone else, makes you feel sad, upset, cracked, I also get to be the one who puts you back together until you say stop. You get it? He is so husband material. So she loads her email and she sees her score 526. His own score was 525. She's above him by one score. And the reason she even knows his score is that Penn said so a little while ago before this thing between them started. He now congratulates her. And funny thing is, before they even saw this her score, he congratulated her. She now asked him, how did you know? He's like, I know your drive, I know your brilliance and your anxiety. I know you underestimated your performance. She thanks him for being there for her. Out of gratitude, she initiates a kiss. Just a simple kiss, like, okay, I'm grateful. But he takes control soon enough. And before it goes further, she just wants to know something, if he's currently sleeping with Penn. And the reason she wants to know is both of them don't use protection. I mean, they already checked out before they started this whole thing that both of them are clean. Like, neither of them have any STDs. They send their medical reports, the swab tests. She wants to know, are you, still doing pen? Because if you're doing pen, Sha know pen is doing others. So that's a risk of STD, So he now tells her that he hasn't been with anyone since he and Scarlett started. That fills her with relief that she does not want to examine at all. Before we go any further, it has started raining. It's been raining almost every day of this wonderful season. And if you're hearing the raindrops, enjoy it. One of the best times I love reading is when it's raining. It's just, it feels so sweet for some reason. Enjoy it. Okay? Now, there and there, they have this intense intimacy section in the locker room. I remember the words and feels, but not the actual gory details. I usually don't remember sex things. I just don't. And it's not me trying to be pure or anything. I remember the feels, the butterflies, but I don't remember what was said. And if you tell me, oh, go and read it again, if I read it again, I will not feel anything. And I don't like reading it again. So that's why I'm trying to lean towards neater books so that I don't develop lust that I don't have. That's just a confession, and you will not hear this if you're not listening intently to the show. So thank you. Regardless, Scarlett being Scarlett and being similar to me. I mean, if I were in this situation, if I grew up in this type of environment, with this type of morals and stuff when I were in high situation, she still wants him that, look, if you change your mind though about, you want to do other people, shall let me know. He now shakes his head that it's not happening. And the last thing Scarlett sees before closing her eyes in ecstasy of whatever is happening between them is Pen's locker, with Pen's name on it. Now, also, Lukas is leaving for Estonia for a competition the next day. And after that, there is a training trip for the Sweden team. So he's going to be gone a total of 10 days. Now, the following day, Scarlett is like, okay, this is bright daylight. Everybody's there in the training room. So she attends the inward dive. And obviously, she does not make it. She doesn't get it this time. Nobody even acts like anything happened because they don't know that she's gotten it right. There is no shame here. She just feels determined. Later, she celebrates her MCAT score with Pen. They both don't see the point of being an alumna. You just keep giving the school money after I did it for 4 years. That's what it is. They keep trying to get you to give money. Now, soon enough, trainings are going to start because November is packed back to back with travels and meets. Scarlett also comes clean with her therapist. She didn't link the mind block with the other tragedies on that day. That's why the therapist couldn't help her because she was blocking out the pain of what happened before the accident. Right now, she admits she's afraid of not being perfect and losing control. She's managed to mediocre in what talks, but it's so much progress, her coach is not even complaining. Her coach has seen now that, okay, she's doing this inward thing somehow. It's terrible, but hey, she's doing it, okay? In their meet at Washington, they placed third in sinker. That is Scarlett and Pen. They placed third in sinker. She finishes third in general. She spends time studying the selfies with Pen. Back at Avery, when they return, a swimmer even asks Pen, why is Lucas not back? And that's when it dawns on Scarlett again that the world still thinks that Pen and Lucas are dated. And the thing is, Pen knows of Lucas's specific whereabouts, although Scarlett does not know anything. And she's the one he is. You see why I hate arrangements so much? Because you yourself, you'll be feeling weird that, oh, this is a person that I'm doing. Or imagine your husband that you sleep with every night. You live in the same, like both of you are intimate in all the ways. But you don't know his plans. He's one girl in his office that is like, oh yeah. Or one of his besties before he married you that used to know everything about him. It will cause problem. That's all I can see. It will cause problem. You get? So that's this situation, and Scarlett is just trying to keep it cool. Yeah, who is doing cool. But part of the reason also why she does not know about his whereabouts is she's been overthinking texting him because she's like, this thing we have, does it involve keeping in touch and admitting I miss him? Ah, Jesus. You see why he should do things God's way to just save this emotional stress. It's unnecessary. Also, Lukas is applying to med schools in an Olympian year. They were thinking, that he's just going to skip pre-med this year and do it next year, you get. But he's doing everything back to back. It's a lot, but apparently he loves torturing himself. Now, when they talk Thanksgiving plans, that is Pen and Scarlett are talking. Pen is going to be spending it with a hot teacher, Theo. They'll be renting an Airbnb. So she's just telling Scarlett, we just have lots in common. It's a nice change of pace because of our shared interests. And oh my God, the intimacy is amazing. And it's so easy to talk to. I'm very affectionate. I'm really into me, Look what I mean. It's a personality thing. His range of emotions is kind of narrow. So, Pen is talking about Lucas's emotions being narrow. And Scarlett can't relate. She's like, are we talking about the same person? She's like, Sha, Penn has known him for 7 years. If one of us is wrong about Lucas, it has to be me, Scarlett, not Penn, okay? Because the thing that Scarlett knows about Lucas is he gets phased. He's not as unfazed as Penn is always saying he is. He has just trained himself to conceal stuff. Now, for an inward talk, Scarlett scores 7.5. She's improving. She comes in second after Penn. Her German is going okay, so is her strong grades in computational biology. So much so, her professor offers to write a reference letter for med school. That could take her far. Campus at this point is half empty, as most people are traveling for Thanksgiving, so this is November. Now, Scarlett books a ticket home. USA Diving Winter Nationals are going to start next week, Sha. She sees Lucas at Avery, and Penn's arms is around his waist. It's so odd not seeing him now when a short time ago she knows scent. She's leaving, Sha. I don't know how she manages all those detachments, but she's leaving when he calls her. Now, I've said it before, he's the only one who calls her Scarlett, whereas every other person, including Penn, calls her Brandy. He wants to make an invitation, but they start speaking at the same time. She goes first, and once he hears she's headed to the airport, whatever he has to say, there's no more point. She could push her to find out what was it he wanted to say. But she's like, oh, let me leave it. Instead, she now asks him, so did you make any new records? While you were away? He now tells her, nope, my good luck trial stamp had already faded by the time I was competing. You get, the good luck stamps thing now, that thing she drew on his hand when she was trying to explain the computational biology research that they're doing. She did not draw it back. When she drew it, just in the practice section, it was breaking records. But he's not telling her that, the good luck stamp has faded now, so I was just doing okay. She's now asking, what's a good luck troll? He said, those little creatures who watch over us and bring good fortune. Oh, that's why it dawns on her. Because besides calling her Scarlett, sometimes he calls her troll. And she doesn't get it. Why are you calling me a troll? And honestly, a lot of people in review, I saw a few people didn't like that nickname. But I think it is a cultural thing for sweets. A good luck troll is a good thing. You get, but he did not explain it to her. It's even now she's getting it. He now wishes her safe travels. So Scarlett is spending Thanksgiving with her stepmom and Pipsqueak, her pet dog. I don't know why you name a dog Pipsqueak, but it's cute though. Now her stepmom is like, so what is it again about the Winter Nationals? What does that have to do with what you do? Scarlett is explaining. It's when people qualify for the World Aquatics Championships. So eventually, when Scarlett arrives at Tennessee for this said nationals, this Winter Nationals, an old acquaintance, Carissa, pulls Scarlett aside to warn her about Penn. She now tells her plainly she's a backstabbing bitch. Back in Jersey, I dove in the same club as her, and she was universally despised. Ask anyone, she may be the next big thing in diving, and she may have deceived Stanford into believing that she's not a sociopath. But I know better, and you should too. Now, Scarlett dismisses her words because she's been around Penn for 3 years, and the girl has been nothing other than kind and supportive. It's a long shot that Scarlett would go to Amsterdam for World Championships, like the World Aquatics. But 3 strong contenders of Scarlett happen to withdraw. One has a family issue, one an injury, one was withdrawn. It's just convenient. Now, Penn passes along something Scarlett forgot at Luke's. Apparently, Lucas gave it to Penn to give to Scarlett, saying, oh yeah, she forgot this thing with me. But Scarlett did not forget anything at Luke's. It's actually only Penn who calls Lucas Luke, like look, L-U-K, Luke, The thing that Lucas passed along through Penn to Scarlett is tie-dye chamois. It just goes to show he listens when she talks. Because a tie-dye chamois, think very absorbent towel for drying oneself after coming out of the pool. She lost her own 2 years ago before the accident, and he's replacing it with a very similar looking one. That's given someone who's thoughtful of you, okay? Okay, so this is where we finished today. Quite obvious, really. Even if Scarlett is refusing to admit it to herself that Lucas is head over heels for her. But she's just living in denial. We have the other things that are coming up. Is Penn really this thing that Carissa warned against? Because, when they say she's universally despised, there has to be some truth there. You get? And all the other things. This thing that Penn is thinking she's going to get back again with Lucas. It's going to cause trouble if someone even still has that mindset. Even if she's a very nice person. Or not. We don't know. So join us for the last installment next weekend. and share the story with someone who listens to way too much music or way too many messages, and they're just like looking for something to pass time but get a story in a short time and it's fun. So please send this to them. I love you, neighbor. See you next episode.